Okay, so back into War Thunder once more. Now, there has been a significant change in certain respects, at least with regards to tanks mainly, from what I can tell. Gaijin have just added or changed the majority of the battle rates for the tanks. I say majority. What they've really done is basically reopened the 8.0 battle rating. There you go. So, there are now vehicles that are at battle rate 8.0, then also now vehicles at 7.3, as you can see there. Obviously, there's still ones at 6.7, but overall, yeah, that's at 7.7 now. What? That's at 6.7. Okay. So yeah, I mean, they've basically changed the battle range for some of these vehicles down here. Well, for the Americans at least, it looks as though they've changed it for two. That one and that one. They have also changed some of the battle rates for aircraft as well. I'll go through those in a short while. I'm just going to go through the tank changes first. Obviously, it looks stupid. I can tell that straight away. That's 7.3. Okay, whatever. And that's still 6.7, which is the same battle rate as that, and as that, which are both post-war vehicles. Which makes no sense, but, you know, that's the way the game goes, really, at the moment. I mean, because that's 6.7 as well, and that's from, what, 1952, 1953, around about that. And we'll fight alongside that, which is at 6.7, and that was mid-1944. You know, that kind of issue, well, what can I say? What haven't I said about that before? That's probably the better question. Okay, shifting over to the Germans, we should be able to see that that is now, no, that's at 7.7, that's at 8.0, why is that? Okay. Yeah, and that's also been dropped down as well. Well, actually, no, isn't. That's at 7.7. Okay, that's at 7.0, that's at 6.7, and that's at 7.0. So, right, the only change there, then, for the Germans, from what I can see, let me just double check to see if there are any other changes. There are a couple of other changes, actually. I'm quite surprised about a couple of these ones for the Germans. That's the only one, as far as the top tier vehicles go, that's been changed. That's been pushed up to 8.0. However, the Jagdpanther and the command variant of the Jagdpanther, the premium one, have both been dropped down to 6.3 for some reason. Yeah, I mean, the reasons why they changed these battle rates, according to them at least, is down to player statistics. As in, if a player is doing particularly well in this particular vehicle, or the majority of the players are doing well in this particular vehicle, for example, that battle rate will increase. Obviously, not many players are doing well in the Jagdpanther at the moment, so it's been decreased. This is kind of the way that the matchmaker works, or the battle rating system works, and overall it doesn't work, and just is a horrible mess, which is kind of, you know, what we've been dealing with for the last 2 years now. They have changed it in the last 6 months. First off, they removed the 8.0 battle rating, or 8.3 even for the top tier tanks, and dropped them all down to 7.7, which caused the 6.7 battle rating games to be just insane. And now they've just put them back up to 8.0. So it's a bit of a kind of a rollback, I suppose, or a U-turn from Gaijin with regards to the matchmaking tanks, at least, anyway. And as I say, yeah, so only one change for the Germans with that one, at the top tier at least, anyway. And the two Panthers, or yeah, Panthers, have been changed as well. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Well, I say kind of interesting, just typical, really. This is just an absolute mess, as you kind of expect. T54, 1951, it's 7.7 still. That's at 7.7, that's now at 7.3. So that will fight against, I don't know, well, that will fight alongside T34-100. Well, actually won't. Well, that's been updated, okay. That, yeah, it is actually mentioned. Sorry, I didn't realise that had been changed. So yeah, that's been updated. Yet that hasn't. T44 hasn't. That's still at 6.3, but the T34-100 is at 6.7. You can kind of see what I mean about these choices being a bit bizarre, I suppose. IS3 is now down at 7.3, so that gets to club again. That gets to club again. Both of these kind of get to club again as well. That's now at, what, 7.7? So that hasn't changed, and that's up to 8.0. That's also been dropped down to 7.3. Even though it's got the same gun as the T10M, it's now at 7.3. As far as anything else goes, I don't think anything else for the Russians have been changed. I'll just will have a quick look through the list. No, it certainly doesn't look that way. There have been a couple of other minor modifications to premiums in particular. That has had its battle rating changed for arcade. Yes, no, sorry, for a realistic battle, yeah, that's been downtied to 6.3. The SU-100 has been downtied to 6.3 as well, wherever that is, there. T-34E, which is there, has been uptied to 4.0, and it's also been given additional ammo, a new ammo type, in order to help it deal with the enhanced enemy or opposition it will fight against. The funny thing, obviously, is that they don't do that for any of the other nations. Well, they've kind of done it a little bit for the Americans, but the Germans just get shat on every time, as is the case again with. I mean, that's still at 7.7. That really doesn't deserve to be there. That's at 8.0. That does actually rule, apparently, in realistic battle if used well by a good player. If it's not used by a good player, it will just die horribly. Okay, looking at some of the other changes as well. Panzerwerfer has been down-tiered slightly to 4.0, and the other one I missed out was the T-28. That has been down-tiered to 6.3. Okay, the last set of tanks, i.e. the British tanks, they've had a few changes done to them. Let's see. So Black Prince has been up-tiered to battle range 6 now. So that is, I mean, this is a good example, to be honest. If that was at 6.3, that would fight against the IS-3. Or it could do, I should point out. As it is, though, now with this battle range change, the British now only have, I think, one 6.3 vehicle, as far as I'm aware, and that is this one, the Charioteer. Why is that the only 6.3 vehicle? Well, basically the Tortoise has been updated to 6.7, the Centurion has been updated to 6.7, and the Carnarvon has been updated to 6.7. I mean, to be honest, all three of those could have easily been at 6.7 to begin with, but for some reason Gaijin didn't. They put them in quite a bit lower, which made them complete seal clubbers. They were just decimating enemy teams at that battle range. They still, I mean, to be honest, the Carnarvon still will, because it's got post-war ammunition and it's post-war design. Centurion Mark III will as well, because that's, again, a post-war tank. The Tortoise probably won't so much, because it is actually a World War II design, even though it didn't set to, actually run until after the war had finished. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think there's any changes down here. Nope. And there has been some other changes to the lower tier stuff, like, for example, the Cromwell Mark V has had its battle range increased to 3.3, and the Crusader Mark II has had its battle range. Crusader Mark II has also had its battle range increased by 0.3 to 2.3. There is also a change to to at least a few of those vehicles in arcade, but since I don't play arcade, I'm not going to bother going through that. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the tanks go. If we just switch over and have a look at the aircraft. Actually, I'm going to do it in reverse order for this one, because, I'm not actually mentioning Japanese yet. So yeah, with this change, they've changed a few battle ranges around the aircraft as well. The A7M1 has had its battle range increased to 4.0, which is probably, it's a step in the right direction, don't get me wrong. I will say that. That's a good move from Gaijin in certain respects. But that's at 4.0, but this kind of successor, the A7M2, is at the same battle range, which is a better aircraft. That should be higher. I don't think the reason why I don't think it's as high as it should be at the moment is probably more down to the fact that people haven't sped it yet, and therefore it's underperforming as far as the aircraft performance goes. Right. Now, as far as other aircraft go for the Japanese, let's see, Ki-44-1, which is here, that's also had its battle range decreased. Okay, so that's down to 2.3 now. But I think, no, sorry, there is one more for the Japanese, yep. Let's see, it's the J2M3, I think, this one. Yeah, that's had its battle range increased to 5.7 now, from 5.3. It's also had its maximum repair cost decreased quite substantially by about 20,000 silver lions. And yeah, you did hear me right, that's 20,000 silver lions per match. This is something that is still a massive issue with the Japanese aircraft, but it's something that Gaijin would rather you forget about, if I'm honest. And that's that basically from around about here downwards, they're almost unplayable due to the repair costs. So yeah, you've got this issue with the Japanese aircraft with regards to the repair costs. Now, I have mentioned this before in previous videos, and it is still an issue. And it still will be an issue until Gaijin actually, pull the hands out or of the pockets and own up to the mistake that they've made. And that's that they've killed off the Japanese player base above tier 4, basically. If you look at some of these repair costs, for example, that's 36,544 for that one. That's a tier 4 prop plane with a battle rating of 4.3. Okay, for R2, 19,690. These are spaded aircraft, I do need to point that out. Okay, 84 Hey, 19,619. Okay, now you go to the J2Ms, and that's 36,268. That's not spaded. J2M5, 22,162. Again, that's not spaded. I virtually haven't flown these because of those repair costs, and that's the reason why they're not spaded. The worst thing about it, though, is when you come down to these. They are 2x2s, because you've got 21,987. That, again, that's not spaded. 38,841 silver lines per destruction, if you want to call it that. And the comedy value really does continue, as in this patch, or this little announcement that they made, they did actually decrease the repair costs for the top R2Y2. They decreased it by, I think it was 240 silver lines. Just to, make you feel a little bit happy. Or better about flying it, I suppose. So yeah, that's got a 50,742 lion repair cost. Bearing in mind that is a battle rating 7.0 jet. It's a World War II design, so it doesn't get air brakes, doesn't get any of the advanced features that maybe a jet might get, or a post-war jet would get. And basically, it struggles the vast majority of the time with regards to certain aircraft that it will fight against. Now, as far as comparisons go, I mean, like I say, that's a 7.0 aircraft. So you'd expect maybe the 8.0 aircraft to be more expensive, and you'd be mistaken quite badly. I mean, that's a Baron 9.0 aircraft anyway. But either way, you should, in theory, expect that to be more expensive because it's a higher tier aircraft. No, it's a fifth, not even a fifth of the cost to repair compared to that one. And that's the Japanese aircraft. I mean, you'd expect that to actually be more expensive because Japanese aircraft, bullshit. But no, it's not. Like I say, that's not even a fifth of the cost of the repair to repair that. I mean, that's not spaded, and that is not. And I can compare that to virtually any other territory with regards to top tier aircraft, even props. Any of the other nations with regards to props or jets won't be as expensive as that aircraft. I mean, I think as far as the J2M3 goes, that's probably the second most expensive aircraft. I wouldn't be surprised if it was anyway. But it's basically just a mess, and it's basically the reason, well, one of the main reasons why people won't play the Japanese above tier 4 or above tier 3 even, because of the massive repair costs that you have to pay. I mean, just compared to the MiG-17, there you go, 13,000. That's what, 4 times cheaper, just about, than an R2Y2, which is 2 battle ratings lower than that, and is a World War II design. MiG-15 BIS, 13,700. Again, that's about a quarter of the cost, and is a post-war design with post-war features compared to a World War II jet that doesn't have post-war features. I mean, that's basically how this game goes is with regards to certain issues. Anyway, I'm just going to go through some of the other changes that they've made. As far as the British goes, as far as I can see, there aren't any changes whatsoever. Even though the British jets really need to be changed. That jet, I think, yep, that jet and that jet should all be at battle rating 7.0 in the current mess of matchmaker that this game is kind of running. Yet they're all at battle rating 8, which means they all get cut by MiG-15s. Which basically means that as an entry-level jet, the British don't really have one. They basically get thrown in at the deep end and are expected to deal with it. And if you just look at the forums, it's the common opinion from virtually every single player in the game that these battle reigns, or these statistics with regards to the way these work, is completely wrong and false. It shouldn't be like that. But it's the way that Gaijin actually, do the battle reign system. Now, I'll just move through the rest of the changes. So we'll go to the Russians. Are there any changes to the Russians? That is the question. I don't think there are, if I'm honest. And as far as the Germans go, I believe there are only actually 2. Oh, sorry, I did miss one for the Japanese. There is one change for the Japanese. And that's it. The A6M3 Mod 22 is that its battle range dropped by 0.3 to 4.0. Not that it really matters much, but yeah, it's a slight change. As far as Russians go, I can't see any on the list that have been changed. So we're just down to the Germans, which has had 2 changes, I think, possibly 3 changes. Yeah. So the 109 G6 has had its battle range dropped to 4.7 from 5.0. The Focke-Wulf 190 F8 has had its battle range dropped down to 4.7 as well from 5.0. And the 109 G14 has also had its battle range dropped from 5.7 down to 5.3. How these have been changed like that, I'm not so sure, because they are effective aircraft. So I'm guessing it's down to player statistics. The last one, or the last nation that's had some changes. Now this is a bit of a stickler for me, and it's another reason why I've actually left it until last. You've basically got a few changes. That's been changed down to battle range 3.3. I really don't care about that, to be honest, at the moment, because I know that it's got the wrong armament, and that's the reason why I've not flown it. So what else have we got? The F80. Now this is a bit of a controversial one for the Americans, at least. That's had its battle range increased to 8.0, which basically means that that will now get clubbed by MiG-15s and MiG-17s, that's basically been a seal club for the last, I don't know, 2 years, maybe even 3, and no more. Now that is going to get clubbed quite badly, I imagine. One of the changes that has been changed as far as battle range go is the P-38J. That's had its battle range dropped to 4.3 from 4.7. Again, I think the reasons why some of these aircraft are getting dropped down is because people are using stock aircraft as stock aircraft. I mean, personally I have, and you suffer accordingly basically when you do that, especially if you're not in a squad. Right, the other aircraft that I should mention, because I've obviously mentioned the Japanese one already, is, that's been changed to 4.0. That is an obvious pay-to-win plane. I do need to point that out, and I have done it in a video. This is still at 3.3. Still at 3.3. This is even though they've kind of semi-nerfed it, semi-buffed it in the last kind of stealth nerf that it did to it. And it still rules the skies as far as I'm aware. I mean, I've taken it out since they did their little change, and it's still a very effective aircraft. So in my opinion, that should have had a battle rate increase quite significantly, probably up to about 4.0 at least. But it's not shifted one bit. In my opinion, that is just Gaijin digging in their heels and saying, no, we need more money from this plane, so more people can buy it, please.